This is not a civil rights issue. This is a wolf asking to be housed with sheep. This is a serial sexual predator with a documented history of targeting women, who now has received taxpayer-funded surgery. And now he wants more. Now he wants to be moved into a women's prison. Let's strip this down to the bones. If a man has spent decades sexually assaulting women, prison is not the place where we experiment with social theory. You do not put a wolf into the sheep pen and call it compassion. You do not place a known arsonist in a fireworks factory and call it inclusion. You do not house a repeat predator in a confined building full of women, many of whom are trauma survivors, and pretend nothing will happen. Women in prison are not abstract concepts. They are human beings. A huge percentage of incarcerated women have histories of sexual abuse. Many have PTSD. Many were abused by men before they ever committed a crime. Now imagine being locked in a cage, unable to leave, and being told that a male serial sexual offender is moving into your unit. There's no opting out. There is no just walk away. There's no saying no. That is a psychological trigger waiting to explode. It doesn't matter what surgery he had performed. Surgery does not delete his criminal record. It does not erase his predatory behavior. It does not neutralize risk. If anything, this is an escalation. Taxpayer-funded surgery was granted, and this is in Canada. Now, his demand is housing that is based on his identity rather than the risk that he poses. What's next? At what point do we say enough? Corrections policy has always been about safety first. We separate inmates by sex for a reason. We separate violent offenders for a reason. We do risk assessments for a reason. And suddenly, we are being told that a self-declared identity overrides decades of violent history. That's not progressive. That's reckless. If even one woman is assaulted because officials were too afraid to say no, that harm was preventable, entirely preventable. And that's not about denying dignity. It's about refusing to sacrifice women on the altar of ideology. You do not validate one person by destabilizing an entire vulnerable population. Women in prison are already confined. They're already powerless. They're already at heightened risk. They should not have to absorb the psychological and the physical consequences of one man's demands. Compassion without boundaries is not compassion. It's chaos. If even one woman is harmed. And if we cannot draw a line at housing a serial sexual predator away from women, then the word safeguarding means nothing. This is not a sheep asking for shelter. This is a wolf demanding access and calling it progress.